Hey everybody, welcome back to looks like my audio is working. Perfect. Oh my gosh, it's a new year, guys. And that filter is going crazy. 1 second. Let's adjust some things. We've got some adjusting to do. All right. Just gonna do this. I know everything's a little washed out. I still try to figure out my video settings on this thing. But how are you guys doing? Welcome back to a new live stream. This week we're starting a whole new series. We're gonna be doing a CG head replacement of a robot guy. Yes, I shaved off the beard for the time being. I don't know. We'll see how it looks. I think I look kind of weird without it. I think it's an adjustment for sure. But you guys don't have to look at my face, all right? You guys don't have to do it. Don't forget in the chat that you guys, there's a couple commands that I added. One is hello. It gives you guys like a quick shout out inside of the chat. So if you guys do the exclamation mark hello, it gives you like a quick shout out check-in appearance on side the chat. And then I've got to update my dad jokes. 1 second. We can't get started until we have the dad jokes updated. All right. This is Streamlabs login. I'm gonna log in real quick and do that. But how are you guys doing on this beautiful Sunday afternoon? Hey, what's up, Ben? Welcome into the chat. Vatican Shotgun has appeared. Let me see. I gotta log in real quick. Sign in with my YouTube account. Oh, whoops. Cancel that. I always forget which account to actually log in on because my YouTube is different than I always think it is. It's on a different account. Hey, Alexander, welcome into the chat. How you guys doing today? You guys staying productive? Today's going to be a fun one, though. I'm trying a couple different things that user identifier error. 1 second. We ran into a problem. Maybe I do. It's login. Yeah. It's login with the Twitch. I don't know why it's a login with the Twitch, but it is. That's just the way it is. Okay, great. Let's update the dad jokes real quick, and then that way we can get started with peace of mind, just in case anybody wants to hear some fun dad jokes. Let's see, where's that under commands? Okay, perfect. I don't even, so what I do is, let's see, I go to ChatGPT because who better that has dry humor than ChatGPT, and then I search for dad jokes. New dad jokes. Give it to me. And then I paste the command in, and then it just gives me dad jokes right off the bat. This right here is the plate that we will be using today in order to create our face replacement shot. I believe this is gonna be a fun one. We've got Luke right here at the from Action VFX at the bar, just wiping it down. We're gonna be painting out his head and then replacing it. Let's actually we're gonna view this correct. We're gonna be replacing his head with the robotic head. So the first thing that we actually have to do is we're going to actually have to track the head and then replace it. So let's see. Let's paste in the new dad jokes real quick. And then it goes to that one. There's like a max character limit on these. Perfect. We're good to go, guys. Finally got the dad jokes all lined up. But yeah, so I think the plan for today is we're going to do a nice quick track on this. We'll be doing some object tracking. I'm inside of Nuke. You can use whatever 3D software you want to use. The same principles apply. I'm going to try a couple different methods. I haven't used Wonder Dynamics yet, so that's kind of like my backup solution because I do kind of want to test it out to see how well that works. But there are other free options that you can do as well. The first of which is what we will first be doing, which is a camera track on the head. And then after the camera track, we will then do probably a we'll do a I just lost my train of thought. After we do the camera track, we will then go try the Rococo add-on. They have a free add-on that everybody could use. You just plug your footage in, and then it basically tracks your character for you. I don't know that it's going to work in this situation because we're not seeing the full body. The Rococo works best from a wide angle. But hey, Sia, hey, Hogwick, welcome back into the chat. How you guys doing today? But those are the different options in which we can try tracking stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead, and I'm going to first do this here inside of Nuke, and then we will go from there. So the first thing I'd like to do is we're going to treat the head as if it is a land piece, if you will. And instead of us tracking the head's movement, we're going to be tracking the camera's movement and then placing that like a cube or something like that to visualize it. Is Rococo completely free? Yes, they have, I believe, a free a website AI thing. You just search for Rococo tracking, and then you can just use their thing. It's pretty great. But again, I'm not quite sure it's going to work for this, but I do actually have a ProRes file already rendered out here that we can test out here in a little bit. But for right now, let's go ahead and we're going to add in a camera tracker to track out this shot. So as I was saying, we kind of need to track just the head movement here. And so we'll do this by taking our piece of footage and we're going to roto out the section that is just the head. So let's create this mask here, and then we will roto out the section that we want to track here on the first frame. I'm going to just select really roughly kind of like the head movement here. Just select everything now, and then we'll just go to the last frame, move this over. And this doesn't have to be super precise, but you know, one thing to watch out for is that the collar is going to be moving different than the head itself. So just make sure that that is all good. Okay, I'm going to make sure we're only viewing one thing at a time. Just going to go every few frames and just make sure we've got a keyframe in here. Mostly tracking the sections of the face that'll be like the lips, because he's not moving too much. It's really nice if your actor does have motion tracking dots on them, but in our particular case, he did not. We're going full Chappie style here on this one, guys, because in that movie, they actually hand keyframe tracked everything themselves. We will not be doing that because that sounds like a lot of work. And I don't like to do lots of work type of things. Okay, great. Now with this, I'm going to just pre-multiply it. And then we've got our roto plugged in. Now under our settings, if we preview our features, this is all the areas in which it's going to track inside of Nuke. You'll notice that it is tracking everywhere, including our face, which we only want to be tracking the face. So if we go back over to our camera tracker, use our mask, and then select source alpha, or it might be source alpha inverted. Oh, no, sorry, not source. Mask alpha. And then we'll want to invert that, of course. Now it's only going to be tracking the area in which the face is. Chappie was great. Yeah, dude. Chappie was amazing. How you doing, Hasselhoff? How was your guys' New Year's? Was it good? Oh, yeah, I was going to do this. Let's, I'll do this. There we go. I shared a goal. YouTube's telling me to share goals, so I'm doing it. All right, so now with that selected, the other things to make sure of in your settings here is that we are not using lens distortion, because otherwise that's going to throw off our camera track. We also can just use an unknown constant because we know that the lens is not adjusting. And then with that being said, the only thing we really have to be concerned about is this background here, because we really only want to be tracking this face. So now if we track this, you'll notice that all of these tracking markers are moving around with the face quite successfully. Now his eyes are the only thing moving, and if his facial expressions were moving as well, that might also be a problem. But in our particular case, this works probably pretty. Oh nope, we failed. See, I caught myself there. I was talking about how amazing this was going to be, and then it immediately broke. We might need to make some more adjustments here, a little bit closer to the face. I'm going to slim this up. Actually, I might even start over real quick. Let's just slim up just on the face. And, oh, you know what's also not a bad idea? Let's swap that to a planar tracker and then just trek the face. So that way we got a pretty good keyframes already. The new year has been really uneventful, but I'm getting on well. I'm still busy with the water simulation and having a lot of fun with them. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I had told you I did a little bit of a water sim on the last project I did, which was super fun. I used flip fluids inside of Blender, and it worked really well. I don't like to do fluid sims all that much personally, but this one was a fun one to do for sure. They're always challenging because it's a lot of like plug and play where you just like plug in the numbers and then you wait for the simulation to complete. That's always the thing that bothers me the most. Okay, now you'll notice that our tracks are a little bit cleaner to the body or to the face. So let's just try this. The eyes opening and closing still might be a problem, so we can roto those out potentially if that continues to give us problems. Let's hit the solve button. Fail to initialize camera motion. Try manually defining the reference frame for the solve. Okay, let's manually define the reference frame. Where do you do that? I actually don't think. Oh, set reference frame. Here we go. Let's set frame 1000 as our reference frame. Let's clear our solve and then solve again. Beautiful. Go to our auto track settings and then let's slim that down a little bit. As for me, my break, I've been doing a lot of coding. Like quite a bit of. I have a few projects. I've been writing a psychological mystery, and then and it's just a short film that I'm planning on filming this year. And then I've been meeting up with a storyboard artist friend of mine, and we're working on an animated short film that'll also be happening this year. So those two projects have been kind of filling up my break. And then in my family, we have a few birthdays over the break, so that was spent up doing that, as well as a good amount of coding for a project that I haven't quite shared yet with you guys, but I will later this year at some point. Okay, I'm going to just create this scene plus that's not linked. And if we go view that real quick, we're going to, first of all, create a cube in the area in which his face is. So if we go ahead and add in a cube, go view our scan line and plug that into our scene. For visualization, I'm going to create a checkerboard on this card just so we can see what we're doing. Hit you up in February. You're done with your bachelor? Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm certainly going to need to hit up a few people on this animated project. They're always... they're a lot more work than I think a lot of people usually think they are. For sure. I'm going to set this up here, and then we will rotate it. One thing I don't mind. Oh my gosh. As I'm saying that. One thing I wish that they would fix inside of... Yeah, what is going on here? Inside of this, it's these gizmo things, okay? Just fix this, please. And I haven't updated my version of Nuke, so I can't even complain all that much, because it's very possible that they fixed it in some other version. It's all finicky. I'm going to move this about here for the head position, just for testing purposes. And then inside of our point cloud here, I'm going to set the render position of this to off. But you're done with your bachelor's, dude. Congratulations. That's awesome. Dude, that's awesome. What's your big final senior project that you're doing? Let's see how bad this track is. Okay, so there's a couple things that are throwing it off. I believe it's probably the eye blinking, but you will adjust those things here momentarily. So I'm just going to delete our stuff. And for our planar track here, this is all pretty sweet. Let's go in and create a couple more Bezier curves. I'm just going to track this whole section here. So if I use another planar track, we just track through this. The title is Experimental Film Design on the Realization and Staging of Water Wave Simulation with Houdini. Oh, that's cool. Water sims. Currently working on. I've done a lot of water sims on my last project. Not me personally, but like with other Houdini artists, and they can be quite challenging for sure. That's really cool. So I've seen a couple of the stuff that you're working on. Is that the whole project? Those specific water sims? Okay. Am I gonna have to manually keyframe this? What's going on here? I don't mind. Go to the last frame. Oh, it's already tracked. What the heck? Why? Oh, because it's within the side of that planar track layer. Wow, I am... Yes, that's me. I'm going to use the minus here, and I believe if we put it afterwards, we should be good, right? No? What is my minus not working? Fine. Just paste that. I'm not picky, okay? Just use a merge layer. I don't know. I don't have enough time to really figure out why this is or isn't working. Well, now it is working. Fantastic. So the Bezier 2 is above. Why was it not above before? I feel like it was. Okay, so that's subtracted now. And then we'll see the alphas here. So if I go back in, I'm going to clear our solve, clear our tracks, go into our settings, preview again, and then now we'll notice that there is no tracks on the eyes. I believe if... Now you can see it has tracks on the eyes. I'm just showcasing that right here. And then, of course, as soon as we have that on, it removes the tracks from where the eyeballs are. So that's really important for us. And let's try this again. We'll hit the track button. You're doing a short film with 2 other people, and I'm currently responsible for the water. The cormorant is also for the short film. Oh, the bird is for the short film, and we would do compositing. Hello, Connor. Happy New Year. How you doing, Okaisudo? How you doing today? Have you ever tried Keen Tools explosion? Yes, I've used the Keen Tools head tracker thing. I wanted to try a couple different methods. I've done Keen Tools before. I also just didn't want to pay for their subscription today, so that was kind of part of it as well. Let's go ahead and just output this now. And just going to create another cube real quick. Yeah, if they were, dude, I don't like subscription softwares, and it just really annoys me that every software these days is subscription. I don't mind buying updates if that's what you want to do, but like, does the software itself have to be subscription? Can't we just not? I guess it also kind of makes sense that everything's subscription, just from the perspective of it takes money to create new development of stuff. Okay, let's bring that in a little bit. And it is certainly the easiest way of getting people to pay for the latest features of stuff, because you don't want to have constant development on something if they're just buying a perpetual license. What am I doing? Today we are trying to track this actor's head, and then we're going to be replacing it with a robot head later. But right now I'm just putting a cube on here for testing purposes. And I also wanted to try tracking this inside of Nuke, because I feel like this is a way that everybody else could possibly do this. And yeah, that track is looking a little bit better. I'm going to clean it up just a smidge. Delete everything again. Go back over to our track here. So for those who just joined, I created a roto of just the head area, subtracting out the eyes because he's blinking. If his mouth is making facial expressions, you're going to want to roto that out as well. For us, though, he's not really making all those different facial expressions. So we're just going to delete now anything that could be slipping. I'm just going to delete the rejected here. Should clean that up quite a bit. And then we'll go ahead and create our scene plus again. And plug our head back in. Uh-oh. Running out of system storage space. I thought one second, let me check my preferences. I'm got to make sure that my cache isn't being saved to... So wait, temp directory, comp cache directory. Can we just make... Oh, this is on our C. Okay, one second. Let's fix that real quick. So that's our environment variable location. I'm going to delete all my cache, clear all my cache, and then go to my preferences real quick. And then change the cache location. Let's just put it inside of my... Put it on my E drive under cache. Nuke. I should probably change the environment variable later. Yes, we'll replace that. That way this doesn't happen again. C drives, man. C drives. You'd love to work on a project with other people, getting burnout just doing the shot alone in your room. Dude, yeah, working with people is definitely a big game changer. For sure. Okay, how does that track look, guys? I think that's looking pretty clean. We'll say I kind of want the front of this to be further back, I think. Let's move the front here backwards. Move that. That should be the front of the face, so we'll just keep that there and that there. So that's just using a camera tracker with isolating the face and then using the camera moving around it. The problems we're going to get is that if we're using environmental lighting or anything like that, it could throw off our reflections and stuff like that. So that is just something to kind of be aware of, is that the reflections now will not be moving, because in 3D space, the cube is not animating, the camera is. So our environment that we create needs to be moving around with the camera. So that way we're inverting everything. But we'll get to that momentarily. Okay, perfect. We've got ourselves a nice track for the head. So the live stream's done. We're done, everybody. This is the robot head, right? No, that's not it. So we now have to, there's a couple things that we're going to have to do in order for this shot to work. First of all, we need to remove our actor here, because our actor is in the way and the robot head is smaller. I don't know if you guys seen the Chappie head before, but it is very, not wide, thin. So we're going to actually have to remove the background and track that back on. And then also his clothing, his beard is on this actor is going in front of the shirt, and we are currently missing the inside of the shirt if our robot head is to sit on the inside of that. Wouldn't work if you parent the object to the camera and replace the camera by the one that has no animation. So I was theorizing about that. I was going to test it, but I'm fairly certain what you said is it should work. You could either do that, or, I mean, you can get really complicated. You can make it empty that is controlling the environment, and that is also parented to the camera movement. And so then the empty is then rotating around your scene, and then you can make the pointer of like an HDRI or something like that that is kind of like moving around in the environment. So there's like a couple ways that you could do that. Either that or you just make your environment. If you actually had lights, you just parent them to the camera. They should move around. And then any of the reflections that you make, you do that as well. But anyways, those are all just ideas in which you could do that. But what you said, I was going to try that. I was going to try just parenting your object to basically the camera location. As long as you know what the offset is between the camera and the and your head, your robot head of where you want stuff to be. Which we do. We actually have that right here. Okay, so let's create ourselves a clean plate. I'm going to. That's our camera track. Let's go ahead and just add in some dot over here, and then I'm going to add in a right node, and then we're going to output this. Probably this frame right here is fine. Let's go ahead and just render this out, and we're going to create a matte painting. So, let's see. Let's go to VFX. Call this material. And then a DMP for a digital matte painting. And then let's just call this today's date, I suppose. Which, guys, I am still trying to get used to saying 2025 instead of 2024. That's just... we'll call this source version 1, and then dot, we'll put the frame number in just in case we want to have multiples of them. I'm just going to output it as a matte painting color space, which will just be sRGB. So that should be fine. And we're just going to do the first frame. Let's just output that and then open up Photoshop Beta, because I actually prefer Photoshop Beta. I haven't updated Photoshop in a while. I'm still on like 25.6. It takes me a while to update any of my softwares ever. Any software that I'm using, it takes me a while to update, just because I know that this version works, and it's like it scares me to go into another version that I don't know if it's going to work or not. Okay, great. Inside of Photoshop, we're going to use some AI. Ooh, scary. We're just going to select our guy here. This is how lazy I am with clean plating things these days. I could spend, the extra 30 minutes just doing this myself, or I could take 10 seconds and do this, and it works just as well. Just going to select him. Very roughly, I might add. I am all sorts of jittery today. Just generate, paint him out. Coffee break time. I don't even know who you are, sir. Whoops. Oops. Well, we'll see if it does any better. That's funny. Oh, man. Who are you? What have you done? I think we like this. I'm just going to get rid of the glass completely, honestly. Hey, Okai Sado and Hasselhoff, don't forget to check in by doing the exclamation mark hello. And then I also have the dad jokes. Updated those. Why is it so hard to get rid of this completely? Am I going to have to actually do paint work? Am I going to have to paint? I don't want to paint. I just want to hit generate fill, guys. It's my job now. My job is to plug things into AI. Because we're doing a clean plate. Whoops. I'm going to get rid of our guy over here as well. Why did it add that random, what's his name, looking guy? Tim Cook. It looked like Tim Cook, did it not? From Apple, the CEO of Apple. Did it not look like a spitting image of Tim Cook? I swear it looked like a Tim Cook. We'll do this one. So now we've got ourselves a clean plate. So we'll go ahead and export this out as another PNG. Probably save that into the same folder. So let's go back over to our projects, live stream folder. Put that under our VFX material digital map painting. And then we'll call this, instead of source, we'll call it clean. Save that. Cool. So now we have a clean plate of our imagery. We'll probably need to start over. So let's just close this. I'll actually save it. You know what? Screw it. We're going to save it. I'm going to call this clean. And then I'm going to re-import this. And then for purposes of our own... You didn't realize this was live until you clicked the link? Well, hey, welcome in, Tamer. How you doing? Yeah, it's live. We're just trying to do our best to not be cringy online. Okay, I'm going to... Okay, what's the best way to do this? Honestly, it's probably taking our digital map painting we already created. Let's just import that. And then we're going to do some manual paint out work. So I'm going to put our guy back in. And we're just going to select the head. Yeah, I didn't want to... Oh, see, this is where you know, like, AI really goofs up. It, like, creates, like, these weird noise patterns and stuff like that sometimes. Oh, well, it is what it is. All right, so we're going to just kind of remove the back color of this while trying to keep the front color on. It's the best way to do that. Let's go ahead and just select everything here. And yeah, I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to delete it real quick, and then we're going to bring it back in. Oh, whoops. Let's bring it back in the correct area. His head popped back in, guys. Okay, now using this quick selection tool, this will probably be the easiest way of doing this. Probably actually just... I always find that, like, what ends up happening is if you have trouble selecting stuff, you end up just wasting more time than it's worth. Let's go ahead and just select all of this. For stuff like this, it's really useful to have a tablet, 100%. But I like to use my regular mouse, guys. My regular mouse gets the job done. Just gotta select all that area. We're gonna have some beard problems here, guys. Okay, select that too. Clean select the collar here. Make sure it's not super jittery. Beautiful. Okay. We'll convert that to a rasterized layer, and then we'll do select invert. I think this is the invert selection button. Delete everything else. Great. So now we just have the collar here, which is just this layer. We're painting back in. AI is great for tedious stuff like this. Imagine doing every selection highlighted by hand. Whoa, yeah, you know, you're right. Do I do this at every frame? No, we're just going to make a single kind of clean plate of what the collar selection is here, and then we can track that back onto his body. We're not going to need to do anything crazy. Right now, we're basically just trying to create the foreground of his shirt as well as the background. Let's just see if AI gets this. I don't think it's going to, but I'm trying to paint this color in here. We can hand paint it. It's pretty close. Find sometimes things that are close are better than not. Just going to keep trying to generate, see if we can get that to work a little bit better. Yeah, but imagine us having to actually hand paint everything. Imagine what it was like before we had AI, guys. I happen to know because I used to have to do that. Okay, and then there's this frame over here. So this is all in front of our robot head. And then we're going to have to do behind the robot head. So that'll be a whole separate thing. Okay, so this is all just foreground pieces. Let's see. What do we have here? I just want to see. This is the front foreground pieces. Let's just merge this all together. We'll merge the layers. And then I'm going to, let's do a feather selection here of like 5 pixels. And then we're just going to hand grab this collar without being too janky. Wow, that was really janky. We're going to try it one more time. We're going to try it one more. We're going to try it. First try, guys. Select the collar with your mouse. Grab it, delete it. Boom, you're done. Okay, 5 pixels is way too much. Let's do 2 pixels. I think I maybe selected too much. I selected too much, but we can just alt select. Boom, baby. They don't call me pixel grabber for nothing. Wait, what? They don't call me that. I don't know, but creating clean plates is so much fun. AI does the job and it's really fast with it, but you're having too much fun. You're having too much fun creating clean plates manually or via AI. Are you having fun with AI or not having fun with AI? I mean, I think it used to be, like, when you had a hand do it, there was a certain amount of fun to it. I think I can understand what you're trying to say there. Because I do agree that it's not fun to do clean plating. Roto's never been fun. I've never enjoyed roto. But clean plating could be fun. But I also like to do a lot of other things, and clean plating takes forever. So there is that. Okay, so that is our foreground piece of our shirt here. And that's just that front section. Now we need to create the back side of the shirt. These are just separate layers. Front. This is just part of the clean plate-esque of things. But you're not having too much fun with it. It's just hitting a button with Roto. No, I agree. But like, there's more fun in other things, I guess is my point. So when you go to track the rest of the screen, we'll recognize the original color based from the generative fill color. I'll show you in a moment. We're basically only going to be isolating this section to be in front of everything. Is basically what we're going to be doing. I'm just using everything else right now to visualize what we have and what we're trying to replace it with. So now if we create a whole new layer here and we select kind of like the background or the back side of this collar, do it like so. And we'll do... Let's do this color. I like that color. And that's the inside of the shirt. And we're going to just start painting, boys. And one woman, because I think that's basically my target demographic on my YouTube channel. Or not target demographic, it's just what my demographic is. If you're that one woman who watches my YouTube channel, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, let's just do that. I don't hate it, but I really don't like it either. Whoa, hello. Great. And from this, we could then use some generative fill here. What is visible on that? Nothing. Great. Let's do this all on top of it. Just hit generative fill. Let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. I don't know. Could be good. Could also be really bad like this. That cleans the edges for sure. That definitely cleans the edges, guys. Okay. And now we have this, which we can go in and do our quick selection on. Let's just... see, we also have this front piece here, so let's just take all of this. We'll merge this together. And then we need to, if possible, select this front piece and remove it. Beautiful. I don't think... wait, so let's do enhance edges. That can kind of go below everything. Perfecto. So there we go. We have our collar of our front of our collar and then the back of it. The whole idea being that this is just the front of the shirt. And then this being our back of the shirt. That kind of like cleans it up a little bit. Yeah, I just need to probably paint out some of the jankiness here. Whoopsies. With E. Just smoothing it a little bit. As soon as we smooth that, create a little bit better of an edge for us. Ba, 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 ba. Probably need to get rid of that as well. There we go. Okay, now for our undershirt. I'm going to select our color here, and then we're just going to continue this edge. Just make sure we have everything. There we go. And then just make sure that we're not going too far on our edge either. So, whoops. There we go. It goes to the edge of the shirt. But no farther. How does that look, guys? We got the inside of a shirt. You're not really going to see it. It's kind of going to be behind a robotic head. So we don't really have to worry about it too much. But it does give us the ability to now have it just in case you do see through that part of the shirt. Okay. With that being said, I think for our front piece of our shirt, let's select a little bit more of this. Looks good for being done in 5 minutes. Yes, sir. We aim to please. Let's just grab the rest of the straps here and Just want to make sure that we have this whole front section of the shirt. So Control C, Control V, perfect, perfect. Place this below everything else, hide it again. And that way we kind of like have that whole section of the front of the shirt. And again, we're going to need to output this. So we're going to output this to two different plates. One is everything in the front and the other is everything in the back. We'll call this front 2. And then this will be called back. So let's just save the back first. So we'll do File, export this as a PNG. I was going to put on the Chappie robot head. At least I was going to try modeling that and see what that looks like. Call this digital matte painting back collar. And that's fine. Then we'll hide that. And now we'll just select just the front. So we're hiding the back of the collar now. So we're only using the front. There is a bit of an outline here. That's not good. It's coming from this guy. So let's just clean that up a little bit. Didn't see it from before, but it was from when we were doing our initial selection stuff. So just make sure we're doing clean work, guys. You want that Oscar for visual effects that they don't really hand out? Then this is the work you got to do, okay? You got to hand paint that stuff, okay? All right. Go ahead and export this to another PNG. This one, we'll just copy the exact same name, but it's going to be called front collar. Or front shirt, I suppose we can call it that. Go ahead and save that. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and save this project file now to call this shirt. And that'll be the front and the back of our shirt that we will be utilizing. Okay, now inside of our nuke project, we now need to track this guy so that way we can actually place our shirt on correctly and then also track on the back of it. This will require us to do a little bit of cleanup as we're going about this, but let's just move that up there so that way it's just a little cleaner. Probably put that over there. Fantastic. Now let's go ahead and track the front of this. If you guys have Mocha or whatever you have, you can then do that. I'm going to use a planar tracker, which will just plug directly in here. And I'm just going to track the front of his bow tie and shirt because this is all that we really need. So we'll just select that. Make sure that's set to 1. And it is using perspective as well as everything else. Which is good. So I'm going to set current frame to reference frame. So frame 1000 is our reference frame. And then we're just going to track that forward. And hopefully this works out. This is the way it is with VFX. You have a plan. You go do that plan. It doesn't work. You try to find something else that does work. Okay, great. So there's our track. Looks like there is a little bit of shifting that's happening on our shirt, and that's because there's some shadows adjustments happening. All good. It's what we live for. Let's go ahead and delete that. Let's just track this section here. And actually, you know what? Go into your tracking settings, and then we're going to say adjust for luminance changes. Now let's try tracking that again. And theoretically, this might work better. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and output this as a tracker. We'll just output as a tracker. And inside of this tracker, selecting everything as our options here, we can then go ahead and select everything. Select Stabilize. And just plug that directly into our footage. And hopefully, under our Stabilize, set our reference, under our tracker, go to transform, and then yeah, our reference frame is set to 1000. And so now our entire shirt should be stabilized, which it's not perfectly, and you can tell because my mouse is definitely stabilized, but the bow tie is moving around on us, which is not good. So let's go ahead and make some adjustments for it. Let's create a new planar tracker. And let's select this guy's head again. And I'm going to just do... Let's try just doing that. Is that not working? Oh, I just hit the play button, that's why. Let's try tracking it again. His beard is moving around, so that could throw off our track. But this time I am just trying to do a transform, scale, and rotation, so hopefully that works a little better. Okay, our stabilization is still set up from before. A little better. A little better. That's all we can ask for. It's just a little better than what we had before. Okay, great. So this is stabilized. Let's select everything again, and then we're going to reapply our motion with a match move. This will basically allow us to stabilize our footage, apply whatever changes we want to it, and then reapply the motion back on top of everything else. So, with that being said, we have our guy here tracked. Let's just say we want to paint out the background of our footage, which we do. I'm going to use another tracker. We're just tracking everything right now, guys. It's all we're doing, non-stop, every day, all day long, tracking stuff. Plug that in. And let's go ahead and add a tracker on one of these Coke bottles because, you know, it's Coca-Cola, guys. This isn't anything else. I don't know what you're talking about. I've had some good results with Keen Tools Geo Tracker on a project, so I've been doing lately, but I share the dislike for the subscription model. Yeah, it's rough. Hey, Steve, how you doing? It's annoying to pay for. It's just really annoying, especially for something that you're not using every day, or at least I don't use every day. I would use it often, but not every day. And that just makes it kind of difficult to justify paying for a subscription on something. If it's software, I think that's a different thing, right? Well, it's all software, but if it's basically software that I'm using on like a Nuke, I'll pay for Nuke subscription because I like Nuke and I use Nuke every single day, but I'm not using Keen Tools every day. It's not on every shot that I need Keen Tools. It's on a couple shots. But it's fine. We're going to be using the hand tracker from now on because apparently that also works. Okay, so alright. So this now I've stabilized the background. Let's go ahead and place our clean plate in that we just created. By the way, Steve, it's your first time I think on a live, but if you use an exclamation mark hello, it gives you a shout out in the chat. We're going to load in our clean plate now that we created for our PNG. Hit open. And there we go. Oh my god, he's gone. He's gone, guys. Let's now just roto out the areas that we need, and then we'll be merging that back over top of everything. Let's give ourselves some more space because we're cramping up over here. You don't know what that means? Just write down exclamation mark hello. There's also, I added dad jokes in there. It's inside the chat for the live streams. I'm getting all streamer over here. Okay, so in our stabilized footage now, we're just going to actually go to our first frame. We basically want to remove just the area where our head is. So let's select all the areas in which the head possibly could be going. I'm just going to select that whole section there. Yeah, that's how you do it. You did it. Do just pre-multiply that to RGBA, and then now we've just got our background here. And I'm going to merge this back over top of everything. Now, the reason why we did a separate track here than from the actual body track is because the background is going to be moving differently than the actual foreground stuff. So that's good. I'm going to just throw a blur in after that. Just feather that out just in case there's any weird bugs that we're having. It's really nice to make sure that the edges are feathered just in case there is a hard line anywhere. That way we're not seeing anything weird. Okay, so with our tracker now, I'm also going to select everything, and then we're just going to reapply the match move on it. If you guys need to do a clean plate, however else your shot is, you can do that basically at this stage, and then reapply your motion. You can use a camera track and project your paint out, but that's a tutorial for a different day. This is just pretty straightforward 2D paint out track. Okay, his head's popping back in a little bit there. So let's just make sure that's grabbing correctly. And beautiful. Now his head's gone in the motion of the shot. So we're just using that clean plate. Now we need to create the front collar as well as the back collar. In order of operations, we'll probably want the back collar in first, so that way we're merging the front collar over top of everything. So we actually now have our footage stabilized again. And again, the reference frame is set to 1000, so that way we are on frame 1000 with our clean plates that we're creating. Let's load in our back collar of our shirt. Now, if you notice, this has its alpha set up, so let's go ahead and just use a merge. There probably is a better way to do this. I think if we just do that, 1 second, does that? No, it doesn't. See, what I have realized, or I don't know if there's a better way to do that. Is it pre-mult? I don't know. But if you just grab the mask in the merge, it basically just sets the beauty layer of your footage that way. I don't know if there's a better way to go about it, but that's just the way I do it. Now we can take this and then just merge this over top of our stabilized piece of footage. And then that should put the back collar in. And we're going to do the exact same thing with our front collar, or our front of our shirt. Another merge node. Mask the alpha to it. And then another merge. And that should give you the front. Now, is that giving me a weird bug down there? Oh, because I don't have auto alpha selected, I think. Is that what the problem is? Nope, that's not the problem. For whatever reason, we're solarizing the bottom edge there. We'll have to figure that out. Okay, and then reapply our match move now. And we're going to have to fix some problems because his shirt is obviously distorting in certain areas. But the overall top of the collar is now correct. So that actually, we're slowly getting there, guys. One step at a time. We just now have our head in, or our headless horseman effect that we're doing. Now we have to basically reapply kind of like that movement of the shirt back on top of everything. I think the easiest, so we could do it a couple different ways. I think maybe one of the best ways to go about this is just using, so you can use grid warp and you can hand grid warp the shirt to match the lines. Might be the way we end up doing it if this doesn't work. Why am I replacing the bow? What do you mean? But yeah, we could use grid warp, or we can do another method, which I actually quite like, which is using basically a smart vectors and then reapplying the motion of the shirt back on top of our clean plate that we did. You didn't realize, Victor, that basically we're not doing a robot head anymore. We're doing the headless horseman VFX shot. Okay. So let's go about that though. So I'm gonna use the smart vectors technique on our foreground layer. So this is our background, our back color. This is our front color. So let's just select that, move everything down here, and this is where our motion will need to be applied. We're gonna do this on top of our stabilized footage specifically. So let's just create a dot here, and then plug that into our stabilized footage. Actually, probably copy this. One second. Let's copy this and then take our original plate and do it that way. So we have our original plate with our head. It's so funny seeing his head now because his head actually looks big. It just randomly looks so big compared to what it actually is. It just because I haven't seen his head for so long. All right. So with our stabilized footage over here, we're going to need to create smart vectors. So let's do a smart vector where it's going to create vectors from nothing. We go view that real quick. You'll notice that we're not seeing anything, and that's good. That's fine, because basically what we're going to be doing is generating ourselves some vectors. We're going to change this vector detail to be a higher number, like 0.9. And then the strength will keep at 1.5. I'll keep this reference frame at frame 1000, though it is a good idea to probably do it somewhere in the middle of your shot. But for us, because I created all of our matte paintings on frame 1000, I'm just going to keep it as frame 1000. So do export a write node, and then I'm going to save this into a folder. So we'll go back to our VF, probably create another folder over here called pre-render. And then I'll create a new folder inside of here called Smart Vector. Copy that, paste it, and just save that as an EXR. I'm going to say create directories as well, but this will be rendering it out as our scene linear. It's fine. Do global. And let's just go ahead and render this out. So right now we're just going to generate ourselves some smart streaming. I made a boo-boo, guys. I think I made a boo-boo. Are we back? Yeah, we're back. How you guys doing? Welcome back. I crashed everything, but it's all good. We're back now. We're back with little to no problems. Oh my gosh. Man, I need a new computer, I think, at some point. Generating smart vectors was definitely a good idea. Okay? Definitely a good idea. This hasn't like completely crashed my nuke yet, though it is frozen. But to answer your question, Hasselhoff, because I didn't really answer your question, but I can answer your question. Why are we placing the bow? It's we create it behind the collar and in front of the collar. That's all we're really doing, and it's just so that way we have layers, so that way we could put the robot head behind it. That was the whole thing. Not really replacing the bow as much as we clean plated that section to basically create a layer. But this is still frozen, so let's go ahead and cancel this. Fair to say, smart vectors are pretty heavy on your system. It looks like that's frozen anyways. I'm going to open up the task manager and we're going to do a fun one, guys. Reset. Reset it, boys. If you guys are having fun, hit the like button below. Okay. Set that to 2 screens, and this shouldn't crash. It really shouldn't crash. Famous last words. It's not like I'm doing 4K or higher. Smart vectors are notoriously difficult to work with. They're very heavy on your comp, so that is just something to keep in mind. Although I thought with 2K DCP for 2048 by 1080, I thought we would be fine. I think it was a weird other bug. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Something else closed up here. I can't even remember what I had open. I had something open and it's gone now. It's unfortunate. Okay. Oh, it was my Discord. My Discord crashed. Is Discord taking up a lot of memory on your system? I don't know. Okay, so I created smart vectors, but specifically not of the shot, but of the area that is stabilized. And that's because we're basically pasting this on that stabilized section, same as before here. And so I need to distort this footage based off of that. So if we use vector distort, type in distort, vector distort, there we go. We can use the smart vectors from this right node, the source from this material here, and then we'll set to current frame. That's all good to go. I'll just set that to 1 so we can see one thing at a time. We plug this A position into this vector distort here, and then now our shirt here will be distorting based off of the movement that's behind it, not just the track itself. So it's both moving with the body, but also it's being distorted by the body behind it. So when those straps are moving in and out and all that stuff, it's actually moving our foreground elements as well. Which oh my gosh. Today is a day. Today is a day, guys. We are back though, I think. Give me thumbs up if you guys are still here. You still breathing with us. Oh my gosh. I have no clue what this is going to look like. Is that like going to break the stream into multiple parts? Like, or is it streaming to the exact same file still? I don't know. Hopefully. I'm going to restore our settings though. So, it worked though. I know you guys didn't really see it because everything crashed. But it did work. Let's set this to 2 screens here. Let's try to make this a little bit easier on our system. So instead of using this vector distort here, we can actually set the output of this to oh, this right here. Let's, instead of this vector distort happening here, let's output an ST map. And then I'm going to set this to a 2K DCP as well. And then we're just going to view this. Basically, what we're going to do is we're just going to output this just as an ST map. And then we're going to use the ST map to distort our footage rather than trying to distort it ourselves through this vector distort on a live stream. This is inversed, and then that's regular. Okay. I have no clue if this is going to work or not because I don't usually use this workflow. How you doing, Matthias? We're dealing with some crashes today. If we do warped source and then I view okay. Output just the ST map. That colors look off on the ST map for me, but let's go ahead and just create a new folder here called ST map, and then we'll call this ST map dot 1 2 3 4. I'll just save that as EXRs and render that out. By the way, Matthias, if you do !hello, it gives you a little shout out in the chat. That's a new thing since I think the last time you were on stream. So, also dad jokes are here. So, no one likes those but me. But I added those in, and I don't feel like I'm trying to do anything that crazy complicated. Am I? Am I breaking the bank here with what we're doing? Is this industry refining? It's running slow. I got a little icon there. That's weird. I've never gotten an icon like that before. I don't feel like I'm doing anything wacky. My OBS just keeps crashing. Let's load everything back up again. Okay. There we go. That's saved up to 36 frames. I just don't want to render more than I have to here. 1036. Boom. Render that out. Yeah, I guess we're just having problems today. You did advanced muzzle flashes today and you had many crashes. Yeah, I don't know, man. Granted, this is using quite a bit of memory and stuff, but, you know. I think we're about to crash again. I can feel it. Come on. Come on. Please don't crash on me. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Okay, frame 4. So 39. We're just going to crash that. Reopen it before we crash our live stream. The goal today is to not crash our live stream again for the 5th time, if that's possible. For right now, let's actually just load in this ST map. We've got 38 frames. I just want to see if this works. I just want to see if it works. Let's go to workspace to screen. I don't use ST maps like this very often, but today we are. Okay? Today we are. Let's do our source material will be that. ST map will be that. Perfect. And then this is going to be using our RGB channel to distort this. Which, that's not correct. Where's our front color? That's our back color. Oh, it's down there. I think I was tracking the wrong thing last time. Okay. So there's our front color. Let's just check to see if this worked up to frame 1038, basically, give or take. Because that's all we've got. Now you'll notice our shirt is kind of moving wacko. Oh, that's weird. We may not like that. We may only use this for parts. We may not use this for everything. Let's go back over here. That's our... And then this A input, just the back of the collar. Let's go ahead and just see how this plays back now. Oh, that is not working as well as I was hoping it would. Yeah, it was not working as well as I hoped it would. Okay. That's fine, though. Let's go and delete this. I don't know that ST map is our solution. I don't usually use the ST map. I usually just plug in a vector distort. And I'll plug the smart vector into that, the source into that, and then this into the vector distort. And then if we just use the warped source, usually this works really nice. And so basically this is going to distort our footage. you can see that's distorting it correctly. Yeah, the ST map was acting goofy. This is actually working really well. That's actually working really well, okay? Let's... Okay. We're going to do another pre-render here, boys. Save your work. Just go to this right input now. We'll set this to RGBA. We're going to create a pre-render of everything. So we'll pre-render this out as front collar. Copy that. And then paste that. Save that as EXRs. Okay. So then we'll go ahead and say create directory. Render that. And we're going to render out the vector distort of that front collar. Now we are pre-rendering this, so if any changes we make, we actually have to then re-render our pre-render. Whoops, we crashed. We crashed. Is that a shocker to anybody? Let's see, let me actually, sorry, I gotta get your messages up here. You were looking into water sims and lost space breakdown for Rebel Way, and for one sim it was like 600 terabytes. Then you can be mad if your PC crashed. 100%. 100%. You know the reason why those are... Oh, you said water sims. I know that oftentimes renders on big films are like that as well. For instance, the Avatar film, and each shot was like a terabyte in size. And the reason why... So that goes to frame 31. So let's just continue our render. What? I thought I saved. Did I not? Create directory. I thought I saved here. Did we not? Guess not. Let's just go to 30. Get the last few frames. Am I not going to use the STMap? No, we're not using STMap. There is something weird about the vector distort that's happening at the end of the sequence because it keeps crashing around this frame number. 34. Something big. It's 600 terabytes for one sim. Dude, that's awesome. Can you share that to the Discord? I'd like to see it. Is that breakdown? Is on YouTube? Yeah, something weird is going on with the smart vectors at around that frame. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. We're going to get this to work. Whether it wants to work or not. All right. 1033. We use another task manager here to crash this thing. We're going to just crash. Goodbye. Thank you for your service. And then we reload it. We're going to crawl. We're crawling. We're crawling through this. Okay, front collar render. And then we want from frame 33 onwards. Get us past the evil devil frames. We did it. See, that's the thing. If I can manually crash it and us not crash the live stream, but we're only getting 5 frames every time we load this thing, that's a win for me, okay? 1037. Am I going to have to crash it again? Is it going to get stuck on canceled? You become a Patreon member. That, like how that pops up right when I'm like, this is every week, boys. Ah. Lovely. High. Very high. Very high. 37. I'm just going to keep this open. Load in the next one. And that goes till frame 36. So I need 1037 as the next frame that we're doing. Render. We got to 1039. World record right there. I'm brute forcing this, guys. We're going to brute force it. I'm actually going to shut our Discord down. We're only using Nuke. I don't know what this leaf is. Does anyone know what a leaf is when you're looking at your task manager? Yeah, we'll force that to close. 10:39. One thing at a time. You sent it in the Discord? Thanks, man. I'll check it out. Why can't I just do React videos like every other YouTuber? I'm sure their computers don't crash. Ah, I just realized. Oh. Okay, we're gonna have to redo it. RGBA. Need to render that out with RGBA. Okay, we're gonna render that out again. Let's do vector distort, crop. Just make sure. We're gonna make sure that this is good. We're just gonna render out this front collar here with RGBA. Just hit that render button. Please render out all 55 frames. Technically, we could also break this down into multiple vector distorts, because probably part of the reason why it's freaking out is the further it gets away from the rep. I swear, we will get through this stream, okay? We will get through this stream. Oh, famous last words, right? Famous last words? Is that... We're just crashing, you know, throughout the whole thing. This is using a lot of memory to get here, okay? I'm going to use a crop. I had a crop before. Save. 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 I don't know when it crashed, though, because I'm overwriting frames right now. Let's do input on this. Okay. So it goes up to 37. Perfect. Go back to global. Let's go and view our guy. Save. And we go up to frame. What did I just say it was? 30. 39. Let's do global. Frame 39 to 54. Let's just keep it rolling. Oh, shoot. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're crashing it first before it crashes OBS. It's so much worse if OBS crashes as well. That's the thing. Okay, we got to frame 40. We're babying this. Can I just click on that? What happens? Technically, that's not bad. Okay, and then we render out frame 41 or 40. "15 frames to go. 15 frames to go. Okay. I just figured if I clicked on the last frame, then it would have had to calculate all of the smart vectors up to that point. So theoretically, everything's calculated now, and all it has to do is render. Right? Right? That is the science. Why couldn't I just be a gamer? Oh, it froze. I can't grab it anyways. Everything's frozen. Okay, we're going to end that task. We're going to end that task. But we've got music. You need to share your VFX shot on the Discord. Yes, you do. We're so close, guys. We got up to frame 40. I'm tempted even just to say, oh yeah, 40 frames is exactly the length of the edit. Oh my God, we're getting there. We're getting there. Shh, 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 shh. Stop talking. Don't talk. Don't talk. Don't talk. Don't talk. Don't talk. Yes. Okay, we did it, guys. We did it. We did it. We made it. We made it. We made it. Oh my God, we made it. All right, now let's load that in. Got our front collar. Woo! And it's gonna look like trash, but we haven't seen it yet, so it's it is what it is at this point. I'm going to set that to auto alpha now. Never been more excited in my life. Okay. So now you can see it distorts with it perfectly. We still have this line at the bottom. We can easily get rid of that. I'm not really concerned about that at all. But now we've got our shirt that's kind of distorting with how it's supposed to be distorting. Beautiful. Oh man, it worked. It kind of worked. We're there. We're almost there. Okay, great. So that's all good. We pre-rendered that out. So let's just go ahead and save that over here. Backdrop. We're going to call this something not so nice. We're going to say vector distort don't touch. Boom, baby. Don't touch it with a 9-foot pole, okay? I'm going to save that over here as a vector distort. Probably take that into that, this into it, and then, frick it, let's just take the stabilization as well. You know, other ways, by the way, that we could have probably cleaned up on why it was crashing and stuff like that is using links can slow things down. So maybe the transform stabilized, we could have pre-rendered that, or we could have made this baked. That probably would have made it a little bit better. I don't honestly think that would have made it so much better that it wasn't crashing, but that was one way of doing it. Okay, great. So there we go. Let's clean up the bottom line that we have here. Wow, it looks sick. Thanks, man. We're getting it done. We're doing it. We're doing it. We've got ourselves our headless horseman. I'm going to also take this number and let's clean up the bottom edge of this, because right now we have this really ugly looking line and we don't really care about this stuff. So we'll do RGBA and then let's see, let's add that in there and then swap this to a stencil. So that way it's erasing it. And then we're just going to blur this quite a bit. So there you go. So that's just going to be kind of like removing the bottom line of this. Just because I don't want to have to deal with issues. Let's just bring that down. Perfect. And for the end of the shot, that's all good. And because it's all stabilized, we really don't have to do all that much. And that then gets merged back over top of everything. You can see that we're just removing that line there from what we're doing. And now we can play this back without our vector distorts going like crazy because basically we're not really worried about any of that stuff. Looks really good. I'm happy about that. There is a weird jiggle wiggle. There's a wiggle jiggle, jiggle woggle, a joggle woggle woggle over here that's kind of happening at the end of our shot. But we're going to pretend like we didn't see it. Okay. We didn't see that. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. No one else will ever see it. Maybe we will. I mean, I don't know. It's just I don't want to fix it. Okay, I'm lazy. You could say I'm lazy, and then you guys can all complain about it. But like, for me, anyways, I don't see a problem. I didn't see anything. Let's see. Let's go to the end of our shot here. I'm going to try to keep in some of our original stuffs as we're going about this. That's all stabilized, so I'm probably going to remove that. That's fine. That's all good. We're chilling here. We're just keyframing. Just make sure you're not removing too much of the body here because we're not using too much of that. We're basically just worrying about the collar here. I'm just going to keyframe a few of these parts. We're going to have to create more of our own shadows on the inside of that collar that we created back there, but there we go. That should play back a little better. There's also a little weirdness that's kind of happened up here. Vector Distort sometimes does that. But for us anyways, once we have the robot head in there, we'll know really more how much stuff is really breaking on us. Okay, we're going to reapply the camera movement that we had because everything was stabilized just then. So now we're going to reapply the movement after the shirt is done. Perfect. So now we have ourselves a headless bartender. This shot right here, you know, it's kind of its own VFX shot. So if you guys are just trying to remove someone's head, there you go. Excuse me. I had a massive drip come out of my water there. Okay. Next up, we now need to comp in a robot head, if you will. So let's go ahead and just crop after this because we're just going to crop after our match move is done. I'm going to save our work as we're going here. So this is all of our clean plating that we're doing. We have this kind of like foreground shirt layer here, as well as the back of our shirt that we have. And that's so that way when we do our robot head, so this is our robot cube that we have. This is not going to be the robot head. For all of you guys who are freaking out and being like, wow, all that just for this ugly cube thing, don't worry. We will be doing actual robot heady stuff. I don't know what robot heady means, and I don't want to know anymore. But that's our robot head. Booyah, baby. We can take this now, and we can reapply the motion somewhere else. So let's go ahead and just drag this whole thing down. For testing purposes, I just want to see what everything looks like. I just want to see it. Can't fault a man for wanting to see what it looks like, okay? I'm going to hide the input on that. And our backdrop that we have here, we're just going to make not visible, so that way it's just the robot head. I'm going to add in a dot below it, and all we have to do is then add a merged layer after this crop. And now you're going to have yourself a robot head that's kind of just floating there. I'm going to remove our tracking dot things from our point cloud. And we can animate this as well on top of it. So right now it's just kind of getting the actual movement of like the shoulders and everything like that. But we can then move it to like be animated and looking around and all of that stuff as well. That works pretty nicely. You guys can use a couple different methods that I talked about at the beginning of this video. You can go to Wonder Dynamics. They've got a pretty cool subscription there. And then you can output a rig of a tracked footage. And then the other way is using Rococo, which is free. You can use the Rococo AI tool. Plug your footage in just as like a ProRes file. And then it'll spit out an animated version of that. Or you can camera track it like what I did. And you can use After Effects or you can use Nuke. Hell, you can use the Blender internal tracking, which I did on a previous video. Okay, great. I think that's pretty nice. Let's now take the 3D stuff that we have here and import that into Blender so that way we can make the real magic happen. So I'm going to create a right geo node. This is only possible inside of Nuke X, so if you're in Nuke Indie, you can't do this right geo method here. So that's just something to be aware of. So let's just grab this right geo now, select the file output location, and we have to put today's date in, VFX, material, tracking. Then I'm going to call this setup cam. And then version 1.abc. We're going to output an Agawa. Agawa? Agawa? Is that how you say it? Hey, Con. Hey, how you doing? What's up, B? By the way, use !hello if you want a little quick shout out inside the chat. Okay, so we got geometries, point clouds. We don't really need the point clouds. Cameras, axis. We don't need the axis. We just need cameras and geometry here. Just going to hit execute. And then let's do global. Oh my gosh, let's make sure we hit save because I am so sick and tired of crashing. I'm just done crashing for today. Is that fair? Is it okay that I'm done with the crashing? Because, I mean, I'm kind of over it. An application was unable to start correctly? No. Is Blender not working for me right now? Why? What is this? I think that accurately explains B how I'm doing today. We have nonstop been having crashes this whole stream. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. My Blender's not even opening. What is going on right now? We're living though. We're living our life. Yeah, I can't get Blender to open. I don't know what's going on. Let me just check. I'll just show you my task manager stuff. I've got this stuff running in the background. I don't know what this is. Let's just end these random Blender things. Okay. Great. All that's closed. Let's try to open up Blender again. Like it keeps crashing. So it's starting and it goes to like 0% for the CPU and everything like that, and nothing's running. Yeah, I know. But it's been kind of my fault. I was trying to use freaking vector distorts. Not a good idea on live stream. Yeah, why is Blender now acting up? What is going on? I have 2 instances of calculator running. I don't need you, Cortex launcher. We're going through and closing everything. We don't want Creative Cloud running in the background. It could be because of OBS, but dude, you know how many streams? I've been doing streams for 1.5 years now. I've never had a problem with running OBS as well. Okay, for right now, we're turning off music. We're just turning everything off, okay? Gonna turn it all off. I don't need that right now. Let's try running Blender again. It's going there, but it's not opening. What I could do is I could try restarting my computer. My pewter. That could be the solution. I don't want to, though. What is this? Let's just close it. I don't want you. Let's see. Dropbox? Don't need you. Leave me. Leave me, Dropbox. And if I install another version, I mean, I have other versions of Blender. Blender 4.0. Let's try opening you up. Let's try opening up Blender 4.0. You know what, guys? We're just going to play League of Legends. That's what we're doing on stream today. We're just going to play, like, League. Ben, you'd like that, right? Yeah, I can't open up any version of Blender right now. They're all just, like, not opening. Well, that is really unfortunate. I mean, honestly, not a terrible place to end today's live stream, although it was a short one. But we created the clean plates and tracked everything, so technically speaking, everything's working. Wow, I'm really sorry, guys. This is quite an unfortunity. It was a very eventful day, though. Very eventful, as they say. And now this isn't even opening up. Actually, you know what we could check? I only have 11 gigabytes free on my C drive. That's probably what the problem is. You have Blender 3.6.1, but it works. Newest version of Blender corrupted? No, none of the versions of Blender are working. It's not like it's not a Blender problem. It's a nothing's working problem. But I want to just look at my beautiful work that I did here today. I just want to look at my gorgeous clean plate that we made. Isn't this awesome, guys? It's almost good. It's almost perfect, except for there's like this weird like ending bit that happens as he's like moving back this direction. I choose to pretend that I don't see that, because as soon as I have to see it, that means I have to fix it. But I want to show you guys real quick on what the plan is going forward now with this clean plate. Is that we actually now have just the front piece of the shirt. And because we have the front piece of the shirt, we can place whatever we want behind it. So we'll create a robot head. We'll start to 3D model that. And then we'll render that out. And then we can drop that in behind everything. And we already have the track of what that looks like here. This is where like the head is basically going to go. We just have to make that over inside of Blender. And then we render that out. And then we can drop that, basically replace this A input line that we have on this merge here. We just have to replace that with whatever our render is that we actually have. And yeah, so with that being said, though, this is what we were able to do today, which is a VFX shot of itself. It's just not the final VFX shot that we're doing. It's the headless horseman, the dude doesn't have a head type shot. But we're going to be adding in a robot and then modeling that all next week. We will be creating the Chappie head from the movie Chappie, if you guys haven't seen that. Well, it's unfortunate, but you made a ton of advances in the work. Thank you. Yeah, totally. I think, honestly, this was, when I was going into it, I was like, this is what I was planning on doing. I was really just going to set up the Blender scenes. That way we had it. And then we could maybe create a rough block out version of what the head was. That was the goal for today. I just don't know why. Oh, here we go. Blender opened. Blender opened. Guys, Blender opened. Blender opened. We're not done. We're not done. Stay. Sit. We're good. Oh my gosh. Let's get cheers in the chat. Woo! We made it. Blender opened. The beautiful software itself. Blender. The greatest software ever invented. MS Paint. Oh, sorry, Blender. Yes, Blender. Oh my God, we did it. Okay, one thing I wanted to note that I noticed last time that we were doing our stream is my color management settings aren't correct. So today we're going to set up color management. This is not part of the tutorial on making a robot head, but it is part of my sanity because I really don't like the color management settings within inside of Blender. They don't work for me. We'll do that later actually because I have to close Blender and reopen it, and I do not want to do that right now. I just realized that. Okay, we're going to close Nuke. Now we just have Blender. Probably move it over here. That way we're just using one piece of software right now. I'm going to import our ABC that we created. So let's go to Streams. Today's date. You know what? Now is a time for a dad joke, isn't it? Now is a time for a dad joke. Why did the tomato turn red? Because it saw the salad dressing. Da-dunch. Okay, that's good. I will say, I think we had that dad joke a few weeks ago, but you know what? It's still good. All right. Let's go to our material here. We'll import our tracking that we created. I'm going to delete our cube. And you'll notice that when it imports our Alembic file, it resets everything to be using the correct frame range of 1000 to 1054 that we got going on here. And if we go ahead and now view our camera, we'll see our cube that we created from before moving all over the place, which is good. That's actually exactly what we wanted. But we do actually want to have our footage so we can see actually what we're doing on top of everything. So let's go ahead and open up Nuke back up again. I don't know why I closed it already. And we have to render out a couple things here, okay? First of which is rendering out a clean plate of our shot. So I'm going to do a couple things, all right? We have our main background plate, which is everything behind the collar, and we have everything in front of the collar. Technically, the collar itself is like its own set of EXRs that we have, which we may end up using, but I actually think that from a perspective of a reference file, it'd probably just be best to have everything here. So let's set up another dot now, and then we'll type in a reformat. Oh, did B head out? You think I'm going to finish 2 weeks of Christmas break, and I've got school tomorrow. It's also 12 a.m. Well, hey, B, thank you so much for dropping in. Sorry, my chat is now down here because it's no longer. I don't have everything set up because my stream's crashing. So if I miss some of your guys' chats, I apologize. Okay, after this reformat node gets in, let's just change this to scale, and then I'm going to make this 0.5 of the resolution that it's currently set to. I'll go to our right node now and then say create directory, and we're going to go ahead and save this over into a reference folder. We'll find that inside of the ref here. I'm going to create a new folder called VFX 10_ref. Copy that, paste it, and I find that JPEGs are the lightest to work with. So if we just save that as a JPG, not JGP, quality 0.75 is fine. We don't need super high quality. Just render that out now. Should render out pretty quickly. It's not that crazy. Fantastic. Save, close. Now inside of our, I just realized you guys couldn't see anything I was doing because it was on the other screen. I apologize. Oh well, not that big of a deal. Ben, if you're still here, just cut directly to this. We're just going to cut directly to this moment here. Forget the making of the reference. No one needs to know how to make a reference. I know it's not on screen. I see you in the chat. Cool. I just realized that. So just cut directly to this moment. We're going to now import our reference that we have as a background image. Click Add Image and click Open. Inside of our Streams folder, we'll find a reference that we already rendered out here inside of this folder. Select frame 1000. We'll go scroll all the way down and then select the last frame of the sequence and hit Open. Now, because it's an image sequence and Blender wants everything to start on frame 1, we're actually going to need to make sure that the offset here is correct. I believe if we set the starting frame here to 1, 2, 3, whoops, there we go. And then if we go back one frame, we just want to make sure that we can't see this thing. So let's just go to frame 1001. I don't know why that's actually correct. Starting on frame 1000, we've got our image now. And then if you hit the play button, you'll notice everything plays back pretty nicely. And it's behind everything, set to sRGB. Now, I'm going to save our blend file that we have because we're about to do something that may make it so that we can't open Blender back up on today's live stream. I'm going to go and save this under VFX, and then I'm going to call a new folder we will call 3D_work. And then under 3D_work, we'll save this as VFX shot 10 and then 3D version 1. Save that as a blend file. Now, if you guys are new here, then you guys may not know that we have a Patreon. You can guys grab all of these project files and mess around with them yourself. We're not going to be finishing this till next week. So then if you guys want to download this before then and make whatever you want, go for it. I'll upload all the clean plates and everything so you guys can work with all of that stuff fresh. But this is all set as sRGB, which isn't necessarily correct for the color space that we're using because we are working inside of an ACES pipeline. Blender uses AGX pipeline. It's their own color management based off of the ACES pipeline, and it's slightly different. But because we need everything to be 100% color accurate to what we're doing, we need everything to be working in the same world. Now, I am using a specific ACES pipeline that I downloaded from GitHub. I believe I linked it to inside the Discord before. I can find it and link it again if anybody has questions of what that is. But I'm going to go ahead and copy our stuff into our new version of Blender because I did download a new version of Blender, so we actually have to run through this again in order to set everything up. But if we play this back, you'll notice that everything we have inside of our Blender project file is set up correctly. Weirdly, our cube is stationary, but our camera is moving because of the way we tracked everything and set everything up. But we need our color management to be set correctly. So I'm going to close out of Blender. And I'm going to go to my window toolbar thing on my start menu. And I'm going to type in, which I guess you really can't see, so it's fine. I'm just going to tell you what I'm typing in. I'm going to search %app data %. I believe that should work. And then if we go over to our Blender Foundation folder, and go into Blender, you'll see all of your installs of Blender in here. Hey, how you doing, Keysign? Welcome in. By the way, I don't know if you saw from before, but if you do !hello, it'll say hi in your chat for you. It's a new thing we added a couple weeks ago. Okay, great. So the previous version of Blender I was using was 4.1, and now we're on 4.3. And if we go into 4.3, you'll find under data files, well, I guess not data files. What would it be? I thought it was data files. 4.1 data files presets. No. Data files presets. No, I thought it was. Are we in the correct location? Maybe not. Let's go to Drive C. Program files. Blender Foundation. There we go. If we go under 4.3, there we go. Okay. If you go under 4.3 and then 4.3, then data files, you'll see this color management folder. Now this color management folder here is the default color management. It's !hello. Although I could make it hi as well. But yeah, if it's hello. Okay, so then you'll notice that this is the default color management settings inside of Blender from Blender. I actually have my own custom color management settings. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into our color management here. We're going to select everything, and we'll save this as a backup, although I don't really use this ever again, but we can save this as a backup. I'm going to move this over into here, and I'm going to create a new folder called backup. This is just a completely different drive, and then I'll just paste this Filmic LUTs config file inside of there. Back over inside of our Blender 4.3, we'll see our color management in here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. Do this for all items, just delete. Now I already have a backup, so if we ever need it, we can go back there. Now under Blender 4.1, under Data Files, Color Management, I have an ACES config file that I can just now copy, go back over into our Blender 4.3, Data Files, Color Management, paste, and then just make sure to paste it directly in here. That'll copy our new folders basically into that. And I'm going to show you kind of what the difference is here. Can I just open a new window? There we go. Go to backup. You'll notice that this is slightly different in what it's providing. This is giving us the ACES LUTs. This does not have ACES LUTs. This config file, if I were to open it up and compare it to you, is actually different from the config file that Blender gives us. So it gives you a lot more options, and it allows you to have better communication. Since we're going back and forth between Nuke and Blender, we're going to want to use the exact same color management settings. So inside of our Nuke preferences, I also am using the same exact config file that I'm using here. So I'm going to close this backup folder here. Make sure that you're using this Blender 4.3. If we go over into our preferences of our project here, and then go to color management, you'll notice that I'm actually using it from Blender 4.1. The thing that I just copied, I'm actually already using that inside of my custom OCIO config path. So we're using the exact same config for Blender as well as Nuke. Fantastic. That works perfectly. So now that this is all closed and everything is all set up inside of our Blender, Blender just requires you to more manually do it. I don't think there's a way to do it inside of preferences. If there isn't, they should add it. That should be like a little feature with inside of Blender, is to change the color management with inside of your preferences rather than having to do it through your whole app configuration setup this way. But that is just one way of doing it. This is just another way of being able to do it here. Let's go ahead and open up Blender now, and as soon as we open up Blender, we can go over to our color management settings inside of here, and you'll notice now that we have new options. This says ACES at the very top here, and then if I just scroll this down a little bit more so you can see here, the sequencer now says Utility sRGB Textured. That's perfect. And so now if we go open up our Blender project that we had from before, you'll notice that our color management now gets reset. It now uses sRGB Textured, and if we select this as View as Render, it will look exactly the same way that it did inside of Nuke before we rendered it out. We're using the exact same color management settings. So now we know that whatever we're seeing inside of our viewport here is exactly what we were seeing inside of our Nuke display viewer. So that's going to really help us be able to make educated guesses on the way the lighting is going to look, the way we want all of the textures to react to everything that we're going forward. But yeah, that's basically how that should be done. Now that that's all good to go, we can do a couple more things to set up our project, so that way next week we could just jump right on into modeling our stuff. I'm going to set this over here to this screen. And I like to then also remove the floor and the XY, because that's going to just jump all over the place, and we don't need to see that inside of this window. Probably get rid of relationship lines as well as extras. I'll remove outline selected and really just pretty much everything. We're only wanting to see, just our cube or whatever our render is at that exact moment. So like if we go to render view, I want to be able to see our render there. Next up, inside of our properties window, let's go down to our film and then just make sure that we're using transparent. So that way, if we are using the render over here, we're able to see our background image that we're using. And this basically will be very useful because when we render this out, we will be rendering out with alpha and then just using that directly inside of our Nuke comp with our composition that we're doing. Okay, and now all we have to really do is just model our robot head, and then we can animate it to do exactly what we need our robot to do. Let's go ahead and just save our work here. I'm going to we'll create all our collections, I suppose, next week for exactly what we're doing. I like to also set our sequencer setting for color management here. I like to set this as ACES CG. So if we just scroll all the way from the top here, you'll see an option that says ACES CG. And then our viewer transform is set to sRGB, though you could set this to whatever you want. Inside of Nuke, if you want to view this exactly the same way, I am currently setting this to Rec 709 inside of my Nuke viewer instead of the default sRGB. And that's going to just view it slightly different as your viewer transform inside of your project here. So I'll just go ahead and save my changes. If I open up Nuke now, we can compare the two setups directly so that way we can actually see what it looks like. Let's go over here to screen. And if we set this to sRGB, you'll notice that the color management between the two of these is literally identical. And that way, when we're making our... Oh, I guess you can't really see that because it's on the bottom screen down here, if that's what I'm comparing the two to. There you go. That's how you set up your color management inside of Blender and then be able to import your footage from Nuke directly in there. So now we can make all of our changes to our cube here, which, you know, is just kind of sitting here, but then it'll basically transfer over into our character and everything like that. But yeah, I think that's going to kind of be it for today. I know it's whoops, we're not done yet. I know it's a little bit of a shorter stream, but, you know, we're just kind of setting everything up to use our CG head. And then next week, we're going to go in and start 3D modeling the character head and then getting that to really align with everything, as well as creating the lighting and the shading and all that stuff. I believe we could probably get all that done next week, although who knows? I mean, it might not be all done next week because that is quite a bit of stuff now that I'm thinking about it. I wanted to give a special thanks to our wonderful Patreon subscribers right here. If you guys aren't part of our Patreon, you can join that in the link in the description. You'll get all of the project files of everything we did today, as well as all of the previous live streams from before and some custom VFX assets that you guys can, or plates that you guys can use, as well as, of course, the, what am I spacing? Surface Imperfections pack that's already up there. But thank you guys so much for joining the live stream today, even though we had quite a bit of technical issues with everything crashing nonstop. That was fun. But I'll see you guys next week when we continue this live stream and go ahead and create a really cool robotic head that we can animate and all that jazz. But I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys again for joining, and peace out. You guys have a good one.